I'm Tim Herrera with the Sacramento County Office of Education with another one of our Teachers of the Year profile. Right now we're talking with Jennifer Carlson, who is the Teacher of the Year for the Natomas Unified School District. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us where you teach and what you teach.
Well, currently I teach 8th grade in Natomas, 8th grade science and math, and yearbook is my core elective. And I've taught 8th grade for 1 year, and then the year prior to that I taught 4th grade in Natomas. And then prior to that I was in Sac City and taught 1st grade and kindergarten.
Okay, so how long have you been teaching total?
6 years total, starting my 7th year.
Okay. So now what are some of the challenges that you face in the classroom as a teacher dealing with students these days?
I think you face all kinds of challenges. I think the biggest challenge is just finding ways to keep the kids motivated, finding ways to keep kids who typically aren't interested or have a pattern of failure or have low self-esteem, finding ways to really reach out to them and give them hope and give them kind of a new appreciation for learning and for themselves, and getting them to feel good about themselves.
Do you find that your biggest challenge, motivating kids?
I don't know if that's the biggest. For me, that's kind of the part I enjoy the most. I think it's the biggest challenge, but it's my strength. And I really look for those kinds of situations so that I can become a little researcher and find ways of working through that. I think probably the most biggest challenge that I face is just trying to stay positive in an environment where not everyone can do that. And it's not through anyone's fault or that they're a bad person or any of that. It's just not everybody comes ready to learn, students and teachers. Not everyone comes with that passion. Some people have lost it, some people are tired. And I think for me, I just try to surround myself with people that are like-minded, and I just try to be a light wherever I go.
So what do you do for those hard to motivate students? Do you try to find special things with each child?
I do. I really spend a lot of time getting to know. I kind of dig deep and I try to see what's at the root of what's going on. For example, one of my students really struggled with just feeling a sense of value. His parents both, one parent was in jail, another parent was working a lot, and he didn't feel loved. He felt loved, but he didn't have a purpose, or he didn't feel like there was any meaning to him being at school because it didn't matter, no one cared anyways, but yet he was such a leader and had so many great qualities. So with him, I took a lot of time getting to know him and talking with him and kind of finding out what his thoughts were about life and about his family. And then one day invited him to have lunch with me, and I sat down and I said, at some point, he was an 8th grader, he was older. I said, at some point you have to grow up and you have to stop waiting for people to do that. And though that might sound very harsh, I kind of just gave him that, kind of painted a new picture for him in his mind of what his life could be like, and really thinking about what is it that you want to be, and stop waiting for someone to hold your hand and guide you there. You have to grow up, and it's unfortunate, but so that's kind of what I do with my kids. I find what the root of it is, and then I really try to paint a new picture for them and kind of inspire them and help them be released from whatever it is that's holding them back.
What about as far as motivating parents? Because parental involvement is really important in our schools.
Absolutely.
So what do you do there?
Well, I do home visits with a lot of my students, and so I find that parents, I think, I know they all want what's best for their kids. I think the reason why a lot of parents don't get motivated to either be involved in the classroom or be involved with their kids' education isn't because they don't want to, it's because they don't always know how, or they don't always have the resources, or they don't always speak the same language. And so I try to really send the message to the parents early on that I care about your child, and everything I'm going to do is going to be for the best interest of your child. And once you kind of get that respect from them, then they'll be more open to hearing from you. So I always start with that message. And then as the year goes on, I try to really listen and get their perspective on things and listen to what they're seeing happen in the home, and then maybe throw in some little tidbits of advice or whatever. But I think parents, just like kids, want to be heard. They want to know that they're doing a good job. So I try to encourage them and, of course, give them lots of love and tell them how wonderful their children are. And then you kind of sandwich that with some advice, and I think they receive it very well.
So the parental visits, the home visits must really break the ice.
It does, absolutely. Yeah, and it really shows the teacher what it's like to be in that child's life. I mean, it's different when you see them in school, but when you go into their home and you see where they wake up every day, and you see where they eat dinner every night, and you see what their hobbies are and what their interests are, and what they're most, it's interesting to always see what they want to bring out and show you. What's the one thing that, you know, they've been thinking about it all day long? My teacher's coming tonight. What's the one thing they want to show you? And that to me is what's really cool.
That's great. Well, so what inspired you to be a teacher?
I've had multiple amazing teachers. On the very first day of kindergarten when I was 5, I remember walking to school and I was so excited. I was the youngest, the only girl of all boys in my family. And as soon as I entered the classroom, I knew right away. I fell in love. I loved my teacher. She was beautiful and I wanted to be just like her. And I knew right away, listening to the music and seeing her interact with us, I thought if I could do this every day and get paid to do it, all right, that's for me. And then as I got older, I had more amazing teachers. My 5th grade teacher did a home visit at my house because I really wanted her to come see my pretend classroom, and
you had a pretend classroom in your house?
I did.
Okay.
Oh yeah, everything I learned in school, my students learned, which were all my stuffed animals, of course. And so I played teacher every day, and I wanted her to see that, and I wanted her to like me, and I wanted her to just get to see. She had my brothers as students as well, so I wanted to give that to her. And she was just a huge part of my life, and I still am in good contact with her, and we have lunch and all that. And then in 8th grade, I had teachers that were amazing and that really held my hand and helped me through a very, very difficult time in my life. And they kind of gave me that confidence and kind of inspired me in the way that I inspire my kids. They really dug deep to see what was going on in my world and then helped me kind of rise above that and kind of told me, you got to get over that and move on. And so that kind of has helped me impact my students. And then, of course, high school, I had great teachers, and by then I already knew I wanted to teach, so it was easy for me.
You don't still have a pretend classroom at home, do you?
No pretend classrooms, okay. No. Now I have the real thing.
You get enough of that. You get enough of that at work.
Yeah.
So, what was your reaction when you found out you were the teacher of the year for your district?
I cried. I cried right away. I was really honored, to be honest, and it was like in that moment I just remembered what it was like that first day when I was a kindergartner, and I saw myself as a little girl and how much I wanted to teach, and it was just kind of like I was reminded of all the reasons why I love being in education, why I love learning, why I love my kids, and it was all just so exciting for me. It almost felt like it was just everything is meant to be, like everything is exactly how it's supposed to be right now, and it was very exciting, and I was so humbled by the experience and so honored, and I love getting to be that for my district. It's such an honor.
So what would you say to those other folks out there who are considering teaching as a career? You know, what do you say to convince them that they should really think about this?
I would say if you have passion in your life, anything, just take it and run with it. I think a lot of teachers try to be the best at everything early on, and it gets very discouraging, and that's what kind of gets people to burn out. But if you have a passion for something and you can find a way to take that gift or take whatever it is that you're really good at, that you really have all this that just fuels you, if you can take that and somehow bring it into your classroom, the kids will thrive on that and the kids will get excited. And then you find ways of kind of that energy comes out in other ways. And then you realize that you don't have to be the best math teacher all the time, but if you really have a passion and an interest for something and you can find ways to bring that in, then you become better at math, you become better at, and I don't even know how it is. There's no formula, there's no magic behind, I mean, I guess it is magic, I don't know, but it always ends up working out that way. At least that's what I've discovered. And it seems like when you meet people who are what you would call, effective teachers, I think that's the one thing they all have in common, is that they're very passionate about something. And whatever that is, they bring it into the classroom.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate
welcome.
your time. We've been speaking with Jennifer Carlson, who is the Teacher of the Year for the Natomas Unified School District. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.